Today, I'm doing a quick video about how long a visitor can stay in Europe and understanding the Schengen area and the 90-day Schengen visa. When I first began planning for long-term travel, I had no idea what the Schengen area was. And though I'm sure having open borders in Europe has its benefits, as a long-term traveler, this was going to make spending time in Europe really frustrating. Honestly, I don't like it, but it's what we have to deal with. Basically, the majority of Western Europe countries, and some Eastern ones as well, are part of an area where they no longer require passports to go from country to country. It's sort of like being in the United States and going from state to state. There are over 20 countries that participate in this, and the number changes from time to time as countries are added to the list, or removed from the list, cue Brexit. What this means for travelers is that instead of being able to go to each country for 30, 60, or 90 days, depending on each country's travel visas, you are only allowed to go for 90 days total in a 180-day rolling period. What that rolling period means is that no matter how many times you come and go from this area, at present day, you always have to look backward 180 days to make sure you haven't exceeded the 90-day maximum. I use an app on my phone called Schengen Calculator Free. I put in the dates of travel and it helps me to track. Now, if you're just going to Europe and staying for 90 days, you probably don't need the app. But if you are coming and going like me, that app can really come in handy. Let me give you an example. A couple of years ago, I was traveling the world with a friend of mine. We went to Spain, Portugal, UK for one night, Montenegro, Croatia, Greece, Indonesia, and Egypt over about a 6-month period. Spain, Portugal, and Greece were the 3 countries which counted toward our Schengen time. After that round of travel, I went back to the US for about a month or 2. When I returned to Spain, we were initially planning to stay for a few weeks and then head for South America. Some of our plans began to fall apart and we decided to cancel the trip to South America. We were just chilling in Spain for a couple of weeks at my house when one morning I sat straight up in my bed and I realized that I hadn't calculated my time in the Schengen looking backward. I already had a flight planned for going back to the US about 6 weeks later, but I wasn't sure if I would have enough days left in the Schengen area. I downloaded that calculator, worked backward, and put in my dates from much earlier in the year. It turns out I was going to be 5 days over. I couldn't believe it. Now I needed a plan. Should I fly back to Croatia or Montenegro for a week? How much would that cost? A lot of questions like that. After doing a bit of research, I realized that Andorra, this tiny little country, about 1/3 the size of London, that's nestled in the mountains between Spain and France, was not a country on the Schengen list. I'm going to talk more about that whole particular adventure in another video, but basically I could drive 6 hours to Andorra, stay for 5 days, and then return to Spain, having added several weeks to my 180-day rolling period. The good news is that you are able to visit other countries like Croatia, Montenegro, the UK, Andorra, Bosnia, Bulgaria, and others without contributing to your 90 days. But pay attention. This is going to change over time. I believe both Croatia and Montenegro are expected to join the Schengen at some point. Let me break down a couple of questions that have come up for me over time. I own a house in Spain and am not a resident. That means I am only able to be at my house 6 months out of the year and only 3 months at a time. The other downside is that if I spend the whole 6 months at my home, I can't visit any of the rest of the countries in Schengen, like Italy, France, Greece, and such. I thought maybe I would apply for residency in Spain. 2 downsides, if I even got approved. Number 1, I'd be in a 40% tax bracket, meaning I'd be down another 20% of my income. Number 2, even though there are open borders, I wouldn't exactly have that benefit all the time. In order to maintain the residency, I would be required required to live in Spain for 180 days per year. Then I thought, maybe I'll buy a house in a non-Schengen country like Montenegro. I can go back and forth between the countries and still just travel when I like. Well, the danger with that is that I wouldn't have any control over when a country like Montenegro might become part of the Schengen area. The truth of the matter is that it's complicated. As a digital nomad, I find all of these rules to be really frustrating. I understand the purpose of government, taxes, borders, visa limitations, and all of this. But a lot of the world is moving to online jobs that can be done from anywhere. In my opinion, it would be better to embrace the nomads in a way that doesn't make it so difficult. I would be happy to pay some sort of tax or fee if I was able to stay in Schengen for longer periods of time. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I hope that governments are listening and coming up with new solutions. If you've learned something today, please find that like button and subscribe to join me on this journey where travel and fun can build financial independence. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.